Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here. If you are joining me live this morning, I am so sorry. I had everything set up to go at 10 a.m. And about a minute before I realized my camera wasn't working, and I have two cameras going, and there was no way for me to reboot that I knew of. So I had to go in and restart the whole thing. And um, anyway, suffice it to say that I am 15 minutes later than I said I would be because of that. But I'm so glad that you're here to join me today. Um, I'm going to show you today how to make a shaker card using the Still Scenes bundle and those cute little shaker domes. It is also Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And so it's nice because everyone can join in. We have a Facebook group for that, and all the information for that you can click below and get to that. Sorry, my lighting is a little wonky this morning. I have really bright sunshine coming in from my side window, and it is causing a little bit of light differentiation here. Let me show you the card that we are making over today. Let me click on this one. So it's that card on the left, the red card with the three stacked cups. And I love the card, but it's hard to find something that you can stack up like that. So for the sketch actually has kind of three different squares that you can use to stack up. So you could theoretically, stamp something on each of those. And but for me, I decided that I didn't really want to stack anything. And so I ignored the three squares in the middle, and I just decided that that center point would be what I was stamping. It will make more sense in a second. There we go. So if you don't like those three stacking squares, if you're making your card and following along with this week's challenge, you can do what I did and kind of ignore that and just use the card base and that middle layer coming down the center. Oh, and I have to tell you, I guess is this the week? I feel like I've been back for a week already. Last week we were traveling back from Canada. Our son is up at University of Waterloo in Canada, and we were able to spend a few days with him over Canadian Thanksgiving, and it was a lot of fun. We went to the Elora Mill for Thanksgiving dinner. It's this beautiful mill just on a gorge, and we had this beautiful table right in the corner. You can see down into the gorge, and that's where we had our Thanksgiving dinner. And we did a lot of little hikes around the area. Not that area is known really for its hiking, but it has some parks, and we just kind of, did like nice long walks through there. My family, we all love to walk, so we did that, and we had some meals together and just spent some time with him. We dragged him to a few stores. We said, "Do you need anything?" And our son, he's so good in some ways. Like he's just like not very like greedy, or like he those things don't mean a lot to him. Like, so he's like, "Okay, sure, like I'll get some snacks." And I think at one point, I was like, "Do you want an extra pillow for your bed?" And he's like, "Oh no, Mom, I don't need that." And so, but then as we were leaving the store, he goes, "All right, you can get me the pillows." So, it's so sweet. We try, I guess I've instilled good values in him. But at the same time now, when we're coming up, like, I guess we show some of our affection through, like, just like buying him like some little things for his room. But yeah, he didn't even really want that. So he's like growing up, and but anyway, some of you already know how that is. But we had a good time, and now we won't see him until the middle of December because he can't come down here for American Thanksgiving because he doesn't have time off. And we really can't go up there because he, again, won't have the time off. So we will see him in December. He gets off mid-December. So it will be great to have him home for a couple of weeks over the holidays. Okay, so that's about me, and let's do the card. I'm going to switch my camera here, and now all of a sudden it's gotten really dark, so let me open up some light on the side here. It's weird, and then the sunshine will probably come in again, and craziness will ensue. Okay, so here's my card for today. And I love it because I put some of that ice Stampin' glitter in there. So when you shake it, it's like all nice and fun. And I did the little stamp scene in the background. And I just love this card. I'm like, why did I not use this stamp set earlier? And these shaker domes just make it, it's an easy bundle to use to make these cards. And then on the inside, don't let me forget to show you the inside, I actually stamped the greeting from the stamp set on the inside and used a little bit of the paper left over from this, cutting up the 6x6 piece. I used some of that, the back side of it down here. So I just thought this is just so much fun. It's a very simple card. Yay. Okay, so this is the Still Scenes bundle, and you remember that when you buy a bundle, you can save 10%. So like if I were to buy this separate and this separate, they would like be a higher price than if I buy them together as a bundle. And I really feel like, I mean, you could use the Still Scenes stamp set on its own, but with the bundle and with these are the little domes. They come in a package of 10, and so they're just great. They've got adhesive on both this edge and the back edge, so that makes it nice and easy to get them into the card. So how did I do the card? So let's start off with this piece right here. I used some of this paper from the Wrapped in Plaid Specialty Designer Series paper. This paper is great because it has a bunch of like neutral patterns, so you can pick whatever pattern you want for the background. I would go with something that's kind of neutral, so it doesn't take away from the globe. That's why I kind of chose the little tiny polka dots. But there's a lot of plaids in here that would also look nice for the background. So choose your paper and cut it to 3 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Now we're going to need to cut that little hole for the dome to go in, right? So you're going to need that little die, and I did actually bring my Big Shot. I did do some die cutting in advance, but I kind of wanted to show you how I do this, so if you wanted to do it too. So let me bring my Big Shot in, and on the back side, make yourself a mark about 3/8 of an inch down from the top, so you can measure that. I'm eyeballing. I've been terrible with eyeballing lately. Okay, so that's only about 1/4 inch. Let me make a little bit longer. Or you could go up to about 1/2 inch. So anywhere from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, make yourself a line down, just so you know where to put the top of your piece. I'm thinking that because that's the inner edge, I might even be closer to, might be better to do like closer to the 3/8. So, but because you have a lot of room here, with this ribbon sliding up and down, you could be up and down a little bit and it's not going to matter too much, but you kind of want to get in that ballpark. And then you want to center it from side to side. So just have a look, make sure that's, and you want to make sure this bottom line is parallel to the edges so that it's not wonky or anything. Okay, so once you've got that, let's get our second cutting plate on top. Shift that a little bit to the side. And then you can cut that through. So now you have that hole that you need for the center. And see right here. Okay, Then you're going to take a same size piece of Whisper White. So I cut it just a hair smaller in case I need to shift around. So this is also 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to just take this and line this up. And I'm going to trace this window really lightly here. Okay, so now I know where I can stamp my little house, and I'll use Memento ink for that. Make sure it's really inky. This is a very light, like skinny line set, so just make sure that it's inky. And I'm going to stamp it right near the bottom of my line. Just make sure it's got a good stamped image. And let me pop that aside. And then I'll take some of my Stampin' Blends. And I think last night I might have missed putting some of the Stampin' Blends that I use. Now I've got a sunny escape again. Okay, adjusting the light, adding some more other light. Sorry guys, the lighting problems are there. Due to the beautiful sun that's out here this morning. So I start off by using this crumb cake, and I'm going to use it on the house. I'm going to use the bullet tip because there's not a lot of space. So I'm just going to do part of the house, not the windows. The white part up here on the roof is snow, so I'm going to kind of just add a little bit on the roof line there. And then I'm going to be boring and just do the rest of the house in crumb cake as well. This is the, oh, this is actually crumb cake dark. I thought I was using the light, but okay. Sometimes you do something and you think you're using one thing and you are using another. I need to adjust my supply list after I'm done my Facebook Live. And if you want to access my supply list, that is on my blog. Okay, so that little house is done, and then I'm going to take the soft suede and the bullet tip, and I'm going to do the trees. So these trees are bare. These are all the trees that have lost their leaves, but they look a little blah if you don't go over them in some brown. So they look very stark. So it adds just a little bit of happiness if you just add some brown to all the bare branches. So that just takes a little while. I'm really doing this like, it's not like a real precise job, it's just really quick. Okay, I'm almost done. All right, I see a little bit more than I wanted to. Okay, so now let's add, now it looks like really blah, doesn't it? Because it's all browns. So let's add some green now to this tree here in the background, and I'll use the bullet tip for this as well. So I'm just trying to find the places on my tree that don't have snow on them. So you want to avoid some areas so that you can have a tree that looks like a tree that's covered in snow. I'm just trying to be kind of strategic and look for all of those lines. After you've colored one or two, you will find that you can find the green spots better. You can find where you want to color. All right, and then I want to come in and do the door of the house to pop a little bit. And red, this is the real red light. Pop that little door. And then, oh, I forgot one bush. There's a little bush over here. And if you hit some green on that, it will look a lot better. Balance the house out a bit. Then I'm going to take the smoky slate and just do the walk coming up, and I'll do the little chimney up here. And then the rest of that is going to stay just like that because this is snow on the bottom. And then I'll take my pool party light, and I've done this before, but this really helps pop your image a little bit, and especially since there's a lot of dull colors. This, just taking the brush tip of your pool party light, and I'm just gonna kind of hit the outside of all the trees. It's amazing how much this really helps with your image and making it look a little brighter. Also helps define the edge a little bit. There. Okay, so now you'll want to erase that pencil line, because if you're not bang on, or if you've shifted the paper a bit, you don't want to have to see that. So make sure you use a good white eraser, because you don't want any smudgy pencil lines. That never looks good. So I have this, I think is a Staedtler eraser, and it works pretty well. Okay, so there you have your little image nested on the middle of the card. Now I need to read my instructions to make sure I'm doing everything in the correct order, because I have made a shaker card before. And what did I forget to do? Oh, it was one that had a window sheet, and I forgot to put the window sheet in. So it's really important that like you read your instructions, because sometimes when your like brain forgets to do a step, then it's really bad. So I've got my little bubble, my dome, and I'm gonna peel off the adhesive off the top part of the dome. It's nice, it's already on there for you. And then I'll take my piece, my paper piece, and I'm just going to layer this on here. Okay, so in the video that Stampin' Up did for this bundle, they said like, put this up here, peel this off, and then put this on, which theoretically you could do, but, and this has been centered, so like you'd be good. You could do that if you wanted to, but I don't like that, because I kind of want to make sure when I'm sticking it down, it's so much easier for me to do it this way. But I also want to make sure that I get glitter in here. So this is my strategy for that. So I've got some ice Stampin' glitter, and I like the ice Stampin' glitter for this because it's fine, so it looks like real snow. And so I'll just take some of this, and I've got a little teaspoon here, and I'm gonna take probably a third of this teaspoon, so like not a ton. You don't want to like have too much glitter, because if you have too much, then you won't be able to see your image. I always think a little less is a little bit more. So I've just dumped it on top of my little image. Okay, so if there's any stray bits, just move them into the center of the image. And now I'm going to remove this liner, and see, I kind of do it the opposite way because that makes me happy. Okay, this liner isn't that hard to remove. It's just I have no fingernails right now. Okay, so now we're ready. I'm standing up because I kind of want to see where I'm going. And okay, that looks good. I'm coming down. And I'm going to seal this up, run my fingers all the way around. Okay, the bubble's all sealed. Now, I've got this piece right here is not stuck down, so I can add some adhesive there, but this top part, you know, if you want, you can add a little adhesive here, or you could have added adhesive on here around the bottom before you did that. I'm just gonna check to make sure all my white is behind. I notice right here, right down here by the corner, there's a little extra bit of white. So let me just snip that so I know I can see the paper all around, and maybe this corner needs a little bit of a snip. That's why I did this white piece just a little bit smaller than my top piece, so that I have a little room. So now and take some Tombow and just add a little bit in here and smooth this down so it doesn't come up accidentally. Okay, and then I'll take my card base and I want to add this to here. Let me just see, my card base is a little bit, I'm gonna I'm being really picky now, but I'm gonna make sure this, oh, there's a little bit of a lip right there, so I might need to just trim along there in a little bit. So I'll just put some adhesive now on the back. This card base is a tent fold, so it's 11 inches by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5.5 inch mark. And then I'm just going to add some Tombow. Back. Stand up again so I can see where I'm going, and I'm just going to center this. The original case card had this piece a little skewed, like to the side a little bit, but that's not going to happen on my card. It's going in the center as much as I can make it be in the center. Okay, so we're almost done. Now I decided to do a gold base. So earlier I cut this piece with gold foil sheet and this piece with gold glimmer paper in my Big Shot. So I'm going to join these two together now to create my fancy base. So yeah, this is, oh, there's a little piece that I missed. So it's a little hard with the Tombow, but I'm just kind of getting just a little bit of Tombow along these lines here. Just here and here and here. It will stick. And then I'm going to add this to here. Okay, I see a little bit of glue oozing out at the top. I'll take care of that. I just love the gold and then the gold glimmer on top of it because it makes it look really fancy. It looks like an etched gold base. And then I'm just going to add some Tombow to the bottom of here. And then I'll just add this right to the base of my snow globe. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Okay, and then I want to add some ribbon. This is so beautiful. It just, look at that. It's like it was designed for this particular card because I was like, I had already, you know, chosen my colors, and then I'm like, well, I want some ribbon for the bottom. And I looked in my drawer and I'm like, oh yeah, shaded spruce with gold, come to me. This will be perfect. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this around to see how much I need. And about that much. And where are my tweezers? All right. So I'm going to go left over right and over. Then I'm going to arrange a bit. Make sure I like the level that that's at. Clamp that little knot. And then I'm going to do right over left. And then I'm just going to make sure that little knot right there in the center stays nice and flat. And then I'll release my tweezers. If you ever have like trouble tying these knots, the best tip I have for you on doing that is make several of the same card, or just like practice on the same card, because I tell you that is where I learned to tie knots really well, or like to make them all look the same, is after I had to tie like 20 for thank you cards or something like that I was making. That's, you know, it really is true. Practice is what really makes things go so much better. So there is the front of the card. Now I also wanted to do this inside of the card. Since I didn't put a greeting on the outside, I wanted to make sure that I put something on the inside. So let me scoot all of this on the side. So I cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this piece measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And then I'm going to take this stamp, and I think I stamped it in Shaded Spruce. I might have also forgotten to put that on my supply list, but I can add that. So I'm just going to ink this up, and I'll stamp this. I'm going to put this little piece of paper on afterwards. So I'm going to center my greeting so it is about right here. Ooh, pretty good. I like it when it's not crooked. And this is just a nice little greeting for the inside. There's also the season's greetings if you like that instead. And then I'll just take this piece. This one measures 3 1/4 inches by 1 inch. Or if you have any tinier scrap pieces, like about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide would work too. So I keep some of my scraps and I just keep them in the front of here. So like you can, you know, like this would have worked nicely as well. So then you can just cut it down to the right size and use it. It's a great way to use scraps on the inside of your card. And it just adds a nice little touch to the inside. So I just use a leftover piece from this piece that I cut up. And I'm just using the back of it. Okay. And then and just add this to the inside. This is like such a dark card base that you probably would want to have like a white piece for someone to write in anyway. So that's why it's always good to, if you're giving a card set or making a card set for someone, to include some place for them to write on the inside. So there you go. That is the card. And you know, that's really not that hard. The one thing with these cards is if you're going to be mailing, you're going to be paying more in postage because of the thickness. You would probably have to use like a padded envelope, and it would cost you a lot more because padded envelopes just do cost more. I would take it to the post office and ask them what the best way to mail it. You can bring it in an envelope. I just think this is going to get crushed unless you put it in a padded envelope. So this would be a card that I would either put in like a parcel, or this is something that I would hand out in person rather than mailing it. There is a way, you know, you could do a flat snow globe card without the shaker element with this stamp set, but if you were making 100 Christmas cards, this would probably not be the card. This is like a special Christmas card that you either hand out in person or that you mail in a bigger package. So what do you think? I'm gonna just go over and look at the comments. Hello to everyone who joined me. I'm just gonna switch over to my other camera. Hello. I don't know if you have any questions for me. The card was not hard at all. If you want to join in on our Facebook challenge, it's the Casing Tuesday Facebook group, and you can find the link below. And post your card and show us what you can do. And I took a totally different set than the cups set. So you can change out whatever you want. The Casing Tuesday part is the inspiration part. If you like the card as is, you can make it as is if you have those supplies, but you don't have to. Be creative and show us what you can do. So I will be back here next week with another Casing Tuesday, but I did enjoy the snow globe so much that on Thursday and Friday of this week, I have a box and an ornament to share. I don't know which one I'm going to do first. It will be either the box or the ornament on Thursday, and then so I will be doing those 2 days. And don't forget, tomorrow we have a sale going on. We have a whole bunch of stamp sets from the annual catalog that are 15% off for 1 day only, starting on the 23rd and running all day. So make sure that if you are interested in any of those stamp sets, it's a great time to pick those up. Oh, my phone's ringing. I'm going to go. I hope you guys have a great day. See you next week. Bye-bye.